sight. Talking about my life, government stay away. If you drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. Mama to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back. Long time no see. It's been a whole 8 minutes. How are you guys? I'm doing great. Except for the fact. Okay, there we go. Interesting. Unhung Hero, thank you for the 5 gifted Squid Proco memberships. I have to just open up and close some links because I have all my stuff open from the last stream, and I have to open up all my stuff from this stream because that way I can keep my brain straight. Because I have so many links open right now that it's impressively it's impressive. And I just have to send someone the link again, just in case the last link doesn't work. There we go. Oh yes, everything came out just fine. Oh, and FYI, if you live in the South and you're trying to reduce your bills, because my freaking electric bill went up by $97. $97 in 1 month. Angel. Hi. Hi. She's right here now for this stream. And hey, Gail, how are you? Mama Cuddles, Joe, good to see y'all. If you live in the South, or if you live any place where it is hotter than you want it to be right now, don't need to raise or lower the temperature of your air condition when you're feeling hot. Just go outside. I took the trash out between streams, and I stand outside. The time it took me to take the trash out and come back in, all of a sudden, the temperature of my house felt nice and cool. It's kind of hot here. My back porch, the little weather station on my back porch in the shade right now says 104. So there's that. And it is like 60 or 70% humidity. Hi. I love you. Oh, thank you. So it's kind of a day. We are going to close these links, open up my FAA links, and we are going to get started because that is just what we do. I just have so many, y'all know that I keep so many damn windows open that I'm like, it's just a day. Hey, somebody decided to show up. Hey, Spawntrooper, welcome back. Long time no chat.
Sorry, who are you? What are you doing in my house?
You're funny.
I said help. You know when you really don't want to do something because you know the shit's gonna hit the fan and then people are gonna be sitting in a corner rocking back and forth in the fetus position, you know.
Well, you know, I gotta take a screenshot real quick.
Let me smile. Hang on a minute. Let me do a pose.
No, I know that when you were streaming yesterday, and when you were talking about the British version of a DMV.
Oh yeah.
You were talking about like speeding tickets, and then you said, I don't, or I've never been caught. And I know that little like grin, like you had a grin and a side eye towards your wife when you said that. I could just see it.
Maybe.
I could
confirm
tell.
or deny. I cannot confirm or deny that at all.
I could just tell.
Wait.
I could just tell that when you said I had never been caught, and I called you out on it because I heard it. It was like there's a difference between what you say about having a being caught speeding, like speeding and being caught speeding, because everybody speeds, and if you don't, you're lying to yourself.
Don't know what you're on about. I drive by the speed limit.
Watch out, Spawn. Mama Squid's in the house.
You don't scare me. Yes, you do. But anyway, wait a minute. What was that? Pecuniary
advantage.
Listen, Jeffrey, don't come at me with big freaking words.
No, because I said that was going to be when baby squid starts saying pecuniary advantage. I know I've won as a parent or I'm screwed. And I told her the other day, this is going to come back to haunt me, because the other day when she was throwing a hissy fit, I told her to calm her tits. So the minute she says pecuniary advantage and I say, stop saying that, she's going to be like, lady, calm your tits. And I'm going to
snap.
I know it's going to happen. I know it. And then Hung Hero, thank you for the $2 super chat. Speeding tickets. Don't get me started. Kenosha County. Enough said. If you know, you know. And if you ever drive through Kenosha County, Wisconsin, watch your speed, because you don't need a cop to get a speeding ticket.
Check DMs. Well, fucking well.
Squid tells me that I drive like a grandma. Wait, I am a grandma. All right, so there we go. All those links closed. Now I got to open up the new ones because I'm slow. You know, if I was prepared, I would have opened up all the links beforehand. But then what I would have done is I would have confused the crap out of myself, because I would have all these extra links open that I'm like, I don't know where to go.
Let me just say something here. For you Formula One drivers out there, here's a little thing that we got trained in a certain course. When you have an accident, okay, and you want to say, for example, you're not to blame, say you get hit from the rear, okay, right, there's not much you can do. However, if you slam on the brakes, right, and there's skid marks when you get hit, right, you could be accused of brake checking someone. However, if you are in an RTC or an RTI, road traffic incident or road traffic collision, all right, and you try to avoid your the person or the vehicle in front of you, remember two things. Leave it in gear. The engine will cut out anyway. It'll just cut off, right? You'll stall the engine, right? Apply the handbrake and do not touch your steering wheel, because the police investigators, when they come to investigate the accident, the first two things they'll look at is the position of your steering wheel and your steering wheels themselves, and also your gear stick. So if it's still in gear, all right, yeah, that means that you had not a lot of time to react, because it's a natural thing for you to put the handbrake on and take the vehicle out of gear. And when you get out, you always use the steering wheel. Don't touch it after an accident. Just saying.
All right, so let's get this show on the road, because I have a hard out at 4:30 so I can make dinner. Even though it's taco night, so it's not hard. So we are going to start going into the FAA's budget, because good Lord, we have read through the plans for a new air traffic control plan, and not getting political, but whether you love or hate this administration, I know there are people on both sides. The one thing you cannot deny is that when this administration says it's going to do something, it does. and it's actually come up with a plan. And honestly, that is the first plan I have ever seen from any administration in my life. That's not to say that there hasn't been one. This is just the most public and the easiest, most easily available plan that has ever been put out there. Without having to go search, it was posted on Twitter. The government posted it on their Twitter.
Oh, snap.
So, like, this has been the most transparent and easy to easily accessible issues. There's no question on when they say they're going to do something, they do it. You might not like it, and that's fine.
Do you hear that, people? Transparent.
Yeah, you might not like what people are doing, and that's completely your decision. However, you cannot deny that when someone says they're going to do something, they do it, for better or for worse. They follow through with their word. You can actually believe what they say. I just reminded by our president dropping the F-bomb on live TV yesterday. That was quite the yeah. If you know, you know. Yeah. Hey, Stats, how are you? Hey, Kay. All right. So this started. I started doing research, and I had heard people talk about the Airport and Airway Trust Fund, and then the legislation that goes with it. So the Airport and the Airway Revenue Act of 1970 provided the funding for this trust fund. So also known as the Aviation Trust Fund, helps finance the FAA's investments in the airport and airway system, such as construction, safety improvements, and technological upgrades to the air traffic control system, as well as FAA operations, including air traffic control, overseeing commercial space launches, and conducting safety inspections. Here's the fact sheet. I do have the public law. Look at how things were back in the day. And this whole law is only 35 pages. Like, I know that 35 pages might seem like a lot to people. However, considering our bills these days are over 1,000 pages because there's so much pork and they're not one problem, one issue, one bill. This is one issue, one bill. And it's like, it's quite refreshing. I had Speechify read it to me last night while I was working. And it is not the easiest read because it is a bill. So it is a lot of legal language. Even though I sit here and I read legal documents all the time, sometimes reading a bill is just boring AF. Let's put it that way. But I will hit up some highlights. The obligational authority during the period July 1st, 1970 through June 30th, 1980 for airport assistance under this title should be $2,500,000,000.
$2.5 billion.
That's in that's the decade of the 70s.
Yep.
Let's just get that. So that today would be, I know you sent me the it would be 1.65
no. 165 billion.
With 165 billion.
Yep. Up to the present day.
That and like 165 billion.
Yeah, and that's just rounded up to 3 billion because in the last document we read, it said 3.2 billion or 3.5 billion. So what I've done, I've just gone 3 billion and then calculated it from 1970 to present day, and it's $165 billion.
And see, this is where, like, I actually, like, I wish bills were still written like they were in the 70s. Because it gives you definitions, exactly like what it defines as airport. So when you see it in this thing, this is what I'm talking about. Like it, right. And some documents don't do that now. So I have seen a couple bills, but out of the probably 100 bills I've looked at in the last 8 to 10 years, I want to say a handful of them at most have had actual definitions.
Here's my plain devil's advocate. Have you ever watched Independence Day?
Yes.
You know that comment where the father turns around and like, they're talking to the president about plausible deniability, and he says, "Well, think about it: a toilet seat, 10,000; a hammer, 30,000. I mean, $165 billion dollars."
Hold on a second. I have somebody sent it to me a few months ago, and I have to look at it.
Well, I mean, it's like if they, I mean, looking at the after going through the ATC document, the fact that they're still sort of like 10, 20 years behind in equipment wise, with the amount of money that is apparently allocated each year to updates and modification or renovation of ATCs, the equipment, technology, and stuff like that. Why is it going to take until 2030 or 2035 or 35 to get it up to date, where aircraft are way ahead of the actual ATCs in some aspects? That's the first question I'm going to ask. I would like to ask. There you go.
Some interesting things, but I have that. I'll keep looking for it. Like 10, Patrick, thank you for the $10 super chat. If Trump dropping an F-bomb on live TV is such a detriment to the welfare of the U.S. as well as the free world, why does network TV keep replaying the clip? I think him dropping an F-bomb was absolutely hilarious. And I say this only because Melania hates, he has said in the past that Melania hates when he curses. Absolutely hates it. So when he said it, he had also said that Melania was going to get mad at him, which I thought was funny because that's just a husband and wife dynamic right there. A grape. Yeah.
I'm just going to respond to Jeffrey, if I may. Jeffrey, it's not about the tools or the toilet seat need to be exact. That it was just an example, because the thing is, if you're spending so much money, right, over a period of time, I was just being like, how can I put it? Not sarcastic, but I was just pointing out an ATC, air traffic control, has daily. There is a time where planes don't land, but on a daily basis, okay, over the last 30, 40 years or 55 years, right now, ATCs and radars and technology and everything else should be updated. But we've seen, right, and heard that there are air traffic controls that are still out of date, and it's going to take probably a couple of years to bring them up to state. And they're only doing it on a certain amount of air traffic controls. Why? So just imagine if you've got 400 air traffic control centers, right? There's more air traffic control centers across America. So if you look at that at a bigger scale, all the money, that 3.2 or that 3.5 billion a year, right? Where's it going? Because it's not going into the ATCs. It's not going to specific places where they should be upgrading. Where's it going?
Hey, guess as good as mine.
All right, because like 3.5 billion, if you had 400 air traffic controls, and say for example you got 3.5 billion, right? You can't tell me that you can take 400. Wait, hang on a minute. I'll tell you right now. 1 second, please. Your call is important to me. So we take 400 ATCs, right, by 3.00. Right, that means, you can just do, you can, with the 3.5 billion, you can do 1,142 air traffic control centers. If you actually update one point.
There.
No. That should be the question, because like this has been going on since 1970, and if in 1970 they needed 2.5 billion.
Hold on 1 second. You keep talking. I have to go take care of something before she knocks something over.
So if you've got 2.5 billion, right, in between 1970 and 1980, in them days 2.5 billion was a lot of freaking money. I mean, today it's probably about double that. But if you look at from the ATC document that we discussed last time, you've got 3.5, round it up to 3.5 billion per year to update equipment. So why isn't the equipment being updated? Why aren't people being retrained? Why is the technology in aircraft being 2 steps ahead, but the ATCs aren't? Why are they having the issues that they're having? I mean, all this has come around from all the air accidents that have occurred over the last 6 months. You know, we've got Ronald Reagan to Washington D.C. We've got the Delta flight. We've got multiple other flights. Then we've got the one in New Jersey.
No.
You know, I mean, where do you draw the line and go, actually, you know what? Right? We need to start looking where the money is going, because 3.5 billion for retrograding or upgrading. I mean, they'll spend billions and billions or millions and millions on airports to expand runways and modernize or build airports. But why are they not doing it the same with ATCs? Where's the money going?
That's the $1 million question. And
Well,
let's see, instead of going all the way through the law, we have the fact sheet about that fund. The supposed fact sheet. Remember, this comes from the government, so take everything with a grain of salt. Ugh.
You know, because I mean, over here, right, yeah, but wait a minute, why don't I have that? Where's that gone?
Oh, this, Steve, stop. Just stop before I eat you. Do not insult my guests. I don't care if you like my guests or not. That is not a them problem. That is a you problem. You're about to get yourself yeeted. You could stay in here. I'm not gonna yeet you, but it's a respect thing. You do not disrespect. I could give 2 fucking shits if you like my guest. I could give 2 fucking shits if you like me. But you do not disrespect my guests on my stream.
Oh, I missed that one. Pretending to be from the UK. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I need to get on a plane and fly back to the UK. Squid, sorry.
Yeah, he's hiding in my basement.
Yeah, I'm in Squid's basement. Oh, and it's beautiful here. Very warm.
I have no basement, so just remember that one.
Bless his cotton socks. Anyway, one thing I
can say bless something, but it ain't his fucking cotton socks.
But Paul Amos had a good where's that comment again? Where is it? Yeah, the bloody good. He said it's not just the ATCs, it's the infrastructure across both board. Yeah, and we have the same thing. We've had the same thing over here in the UK. I've done a couple of research. I've done a bit of research, and I found some documents that I'm going to send to Squid in a minute, and we've got the same thing going on over here. However, it's not. I haven't found too much detail. But in the United States, I mean, from everything that I've read,
if I get $50 worth of super chats on this stream, I will yeet Steve.
Oh,
just for the sake of being Steve. Just for the sake of having a name that I don't like. Just kidding.
Oh, Steve, you just made your. Oh, bless your cotton.
So I have to get $50 in super chats, but $50 in super chats. There's my grift for the day. $50 in super chats, and Steve will be yeeted.
Oh, poor Steve.
So if y'all don't like Steve, send them super chats my way. Just a.
Yeah, you put yourself in that position.
How about them apples?
Oh, what an absolute clown!
And I still have 27 people here, so he didn't leave. So yeah, just saying. Just saying. Yep, Steve's still here. You know, even when you lurk and you're in chat and you're lurking, if I do this, I can still see your damn name. So, yeah. $50 in super chat. Steve gets yeeted.
Oh, brilliant.
Leave it to me to be a bitch. I told you I don't play well with others.
He's just,
you? Like, y'all don't believe me.
yeah, he's just made my life very fucking easy.
Just made fucking entertainment from hell, huh? Steve, you've become the butt of everybody's joke today. So. iPad. Bring it here. You're playing with a cooling towel, baby girl. You're gonna wrap her pad up in a cooling towel. $5 from Jeffrey Montgomery. You do you, Squid, but you be who you are, do what you want. It's your channel.
Does my 10 count?
Huh, okay. $2 from Patrick W. Does my previous 10 count? Yes, it does.
Oh god, that's
we are $29.51 away.
Take care, Steve. Nice knowing you, buddy.
And he won't just be yeeted for this stream. He'll be yeeted for a week. Because I'm sorry, like, I don't care. Like, no offense, Spawn. I know you can defend yourself, so I'm not trying to defend you, but you don't come on my stream and cause drama in my stream.
I am a guest on here. I know that I am one of your mods, honorary mods, and I've got respect for the mods prior to me, like Flash and everyone else, and Mama Squid. They have overall say. So this
is my mother, and if you talk crap about one of my guests and someone she considers a friend in my chat, my mom will yeet you just for being. Yeah, you attack my channel in my comments and watch my parents. Did I send you those screenshots a few months ago? Someone came in my chat and not in the chat, but in the comment section and talked about my content.
Oh yeah. I saw them.
My parents. Like, I didn't even tell my parents that I was at work. I didn't even see this until my mom texted me and she's like, "Did you see what somebody saw in your comment or said in your comments?" And I looked, and my dad was like, "You have a problem with her and how she's a mother? Let me see you do it better." I'm like, "Oh, that's my dad."
Yeah.
This is where you don't.
Yeah, but here, let's get back on topic here, because, if he was relevant, then we could continue talking about him. But let's just carry on.
That's just my entertainment.
Yeah,
weak people are funny because weak people are so easy to get under their skin, and all I have to do is act like all I have to do is make a grift game out of it, and he'll pissed. I bet he unsubscribed if he was even a subscriber to begin with. So
right, I've got the same document open as you.
All right.
I found it.
AATF history, created by the Airport and Airway Development and Revenue Act of 1970. That's the document we were just looking at. To finance aviation programs, revenues are derived from aviation-related excise taxes on passengers, cargo, and fuel. The taxes are augmented with contributions from the general fund. Provides funds for capital improvements to the U.S. airport and airway system. So this is what the guy was talking about that I was talking to on Facebook. And people, when I say I don't use Facebook, I use Facebook for people who I know personally, I'm friends with personally, and for family stuff. And then the occasional Navy group or aviation group or Kiari group. I don't use Facebook as I have a Squid Pro page. I haven't updated it in months. I just don't. I'm on Facebook every 4 or 5 days. I'll post a bunch of videos and then I won't go on it for a week. So when I say I don't use social, or I don't use Facebook, that doesn't mean that I don't have Facebook. For those of you who have said, well, she lied. She said she didn't have Facebook. No, bitches. No. I said I don't use Facebook. That's not to say I don't have Facebook. I just don't use it. You'll never see me use it. But I was talking to some guy on Facebook, and he mentioned that they treat this fund like they do Medicare, and they constantly take money out of it. I don't know how to prove that. There's a couple of websites that I think I could find, USA Spending, but that'd be a lot of freaking work. But I've heard rumors that they rob this fund like they do Medicare. So, meh, I don't know. And thank you, Gail, for the $10 super sticker. It is appreciated. But it's one of those situations of there might be all this money that's supposedly there, but it might be Fort Knox, and we don't know if there's anything actually there or not.
Wait a minute. So, hang on.
You hear her saying help?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's sitting here staring at a box with a baby wipe, wiping her face, going, help, help, help. Like,
baby wipes attacking me during COVID-19 pandemic. Downturn. That's not making any sense. I mean, like, if you...
Oh, she is right here, guys. She is, I will turn it. She is right there. Like, she is fine. So you hear her saying help. She does not, like, the girl is fine.
Do you remember that guy who had a parrot that sounded like someone screaming, and the cops turned up, and it was so funny. What was I going to?
Okay, I'll read this paragraph out loud, and you can explain what you mean by it doesn't make any sense. Get off your iPad, girl. Stand on your iPad. I'm gonna take it away. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
It's in a hard case. It's in an OtterBox case, so it's not going to break. But it's the point of we don't stand on our electronics during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the commitment to help respond to the downturn in air traffic activity that followed, the FAA received a greater amount of the funding from the general fund than before 2020. For example, the trust fund taxes and fees provided FAA with 86.9% of its funding fiscal year 2018 and 93.8% of the agency's funding in 2019. So there's a general fund. There's also a general fund that was created, which I think is what is being quote unquote rumored to be robbed. There's a general fund that also is. I don't know who funds that general fund or where the money in that comes from.
Okay.
But the taxes, all the taxes from air traffic and all that, and the general fund, both are what funds this air traffic fund, Airport and Airway Trust Fund.
Right. Okay. So let me
2020, when air traffic declined significantly, more was coming from the general fund than the taxes. Like a percentage, the percentage changed.
Well, just this comment is making as much
sense. The way
sense.
It's written is funny, but I understand what they mean, but the way it's written is weird.
Right, my turn. There's something not making sense because the FAA are given yearly a budget. Okay, so if you've been given a budget, regardless if it's COVID-19 or COVID whatever, right? They receive a budget each year. That's what we've established in the last document. Now, if they've now got a trust fund where they're getting percentages from that, so they're making money from that trust fund, the taxes and everything else, that means if you take the 3.5 billion that they are getting each year, that's allocated to them, hypothetically speaking, you then take this and include this on top of that, it still doesn't answer where the freaking money is going, because like that would mean that so if like Jeffrey said, it was 18.1 billion in the fiscal year of 2024. Now that's a shitload of money, and the thing is, they're still proof of ATC control centers looking like they're from 1968, and they've got computers that probably run fucking, I don't know. I mean, that's just insanity. It's just not making sense. It's not adding up, because the thing is, if you're making that much money a year to keep to update the equipment, to train the personnel, to employ the personnel, and that's not just ATCs, but that is across the board. What Paul Amos said earlier on. Then why is it not being done? Why are some of the systems still 10, 15, 20 years behind?
I have a feeling it's because the money that's supposed to be in this fund is being taken out by other things and being used for other things.
Such as?
Your guess is as good as mine, but they rob Medicare every year. So there's not enough money in the Medicare fund to pay out in Medicare, and they have to rob Peter to pay Paul. It's like that. I have a feeling the money that's supposed to be in here keeps getting allocated to different things. What those are, I have no idea. I will have to investigate. USAspending.gov goes into details about things. I will just have to do a deep dive on it because it is a difficult website to navigate just because there's so much on it. But I have a feeling that this is the money that's supposed to be in here is not in here.
Right. Okay. So I've just done a very quick search. Basically, in the United States, in the past year, right, nearly just over $1 billion was allocated to upgrading 125 airports, according to the Department of Transport. Additionally, a separate one over $1 billion was dedicated to 99 airports for terminal expansions and other improvements, according to Trump. So, I mean, so we've at least found that. So we've got $2 billion going into expansions of the airports, but it still doesn't answer or give us any type of answer in regards of ATCs, radars.
Paul, but these are questions that we can ask that are where you can go round and round and round in a circle and never get the answer to, because Paul brings up a really good point. If they don't see it as a problem to fix,
yeah,
then they're never going to do it. And we are not just remember, we are not a proactive society. We are a reactive society. We never fix shit until it's too late. And that's the problem. We are a reactive society. I don't know if the rest of the world is, but y'all's shit is older than ours, so I would assume that you guys are the same way. We're a very reactive society.
I just sent you a link
fix stuff until it becomes a problem. And if people don't see it as a problem, it's never going to get fixed.
Well, I've just sent you a link, and maybe that'll.
All right, let me see what you sent me.
I mean, it gives you like an idea.
Let's see. Share this tab, and then here we are. This is what he just sent me. Oh, thank you, baby. I got a new iPad. So there's your better game.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you're looking at airports, you also have to take into consideration smaller airports, private airports, because at the end of the day, everyone using the air or everyone in the air needs to have some sort of, there has to be some sort of control. So we're not just talking about major airports here. We're talking about every single airport.
Oh, and I totally agree with you. It's one of those situations that I just don't believe that anybody's going to I don't think anybody's going to do anything until it became a problem. And in January, it became a problem. Oh, there we go. There we go. I moved and my camera followed me. So.
Oh, look what I found.
Sorry. I'm having fun with that. I hate that feature sometimes, but it helps. So you can see my wall right here.
I'm going to send you this as well. This is So
this is private use and public use. Number of airports. There's almost 20,000 airports in the U.S. This is till 2022. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking, but I just sent you another one as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have an airport like right here. I mean, it handles like Cessnas at best, but at the same time, it's like that. There we go.
I mean, fuck it, that's insanity. I mean, but still, when it comes down to that much, I mean, like, I get it from the understanding from the last ATC document that we read. Right, it's going to take them quite a few years to update things, but if they know that things degrade and and things that go out of date and wear and tear and everything else, they've been at this since 1970. So why are they still 10 to 15, 20 years behind? Why are there still ATCs with equipment that my computer here is fucking more advanced than theirs?
And Spawn, I love you, but you keep asking the same damn question that doesn't have an answer because people don't give a shit. They pass it off to the next administration. They pass it off to the next group of people because then they leave it to be their problem. Well, it's their problem. Then it's their problem. Then no one wants to take freaking responsibility for anything. Everybody wants to pass it off to the next person. And the problem with that is you pass it off to the next person and they're like, well, here we have the money for it. Let's do it. Well, it's too big. And then you have to get Congress to approve it. God forbid you get them to agree on anything. They can't even agree that left is left and right is right, up is up and down is down. Like, I'm pretty sure if you told them like that oxygen is good for you, they'll all stop breathing.
True.
Can somebody go tell Congress? Can somebody
Oh,
Trump said oxygen is good for you. Let's see how many people stop breathing. So it's all about grandstanding and not actually getting shit done and lining their fucking pockets. Because you have congressmen that go in there as bartenders, unemployed bartenders, and come out as millionaires. You don't make a millionaire salary. So where are you getting all this money? And yeah, they ignore the problem. It's one of those things if they think they're gonna ignore it and it's gonna go away. It's worked this long, it'll work a little longer. Yeah, and that's bad idea. Exactly, Gail. But it's like I love you, but you keep asking the same question, and it's like because no one gives a shit. And that is why we are doing these streams. Not many people watch these streams because they're not dramatic, they're informative, they're not drama. We don't sit and argue, we don't call people names, except our politicians, which is like what we do because we can. But like these are streams that are the most important because if the right person sees these streams, shares it to somebody else, then maybe we might get enough people to go, what the F are you guys doing? To like, the adage. Tammy's right. The adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but here's my argument on that one. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. But with the amount of incidents that are actually occurring, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but the NTSB will never put those on air traffic control. So therefore, air traffic control's not the problem. Therefore, they can't pinpoint that air traffic control is a problem. There's the other kicker. Like air traffic control might be a contributing factor, but unless you get an NTSB report that says it's all air traffic control's fault, you'll never get someone to go, well, air traffic control is a problem. And the number of incidents this year is lower than the last several years. However, they just happen to be more prominent. And because of the person who's in office and the people who don't like him happen to be the percentage of the population who are the loudest, me excluded, because I'm just a loudmouth, but that's just me. Well, I saw on Twitter the other day, somebody posted on Twitter, a random account that was like, I opened my Twitter and it's like how I got on this side of the freaking algorithm, I don't know. But they posted, well, if you guys hated Biden so bad, why weren't you out protesting? Because we were at fucking work. That's why. We were too busy living our lives. And we don't want the world. I might not have liked Biden, but I didn't want Biden to fail, because if Biden fails, we all fail. And it's like, we were busy. Like, people go to work. Like, people do things. People have other things that are more important to them than protesting who the president is. We know in 4 years we'll get a chance to do it again. But that I never thought about it, that when you see people on one side unhappy, they go out and they destroy things and they throw things and they yell and scream at the top of their lungs. When you see other side, sucks, I don't like it, but good luck. We'll try again in a couple years. Like, it's like, there's certain things that I think people should be loudmouths about, and this is one of them. But like, it's, if you want somebody to fail, if one person fails, we all fail. So I think things are being reported more because they want somebody to fail and they want somebody to look bad. When it's been a problem for years, it's not the person who's been in office for 6 months. Be it he was in office for 4 years before when it was a problem too, and he didn't handle it. And I'm still going to do research on how he did or did not handle it. If there was something different that happened between 2016 and 2020, just to see if there's a change between last administration and this administration. Because the same person's in charge. Is there a difference in priorities? There's another rabbit hole I'm going to go down.
Well, I mean, yeah, the rabbit hole that we're going down now is interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you can't make a decision on what it's in regards of the administration at the moment, because I don't think he's been in there long enough to actually make a difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That it does. Unfortunately, things are not an overnight.
Exactly.
Because of all the bureaucracy, things don't happen overnight. Things take months and years and years and years and years.
One more time, just for luck.
Look at the head of the transportation departments the last 4 years versus this year. Yeah. That's true too. Our last transportation secretary was too busy trying to feed a baby as a dude. But the problem, playing devil's advocate, the problem was way before him, so he just added to the problem. Or every person that comes in and doesn't do anything, by their inaction, it compounds the issue. So it's kind of one of them situations of everybody is complicit. Anybody who doesn't act is complicit, in my opinion. It sucks because we've gotten so far behind, but now we need to fix it before it becomes more of a problem. So, Gail, the UK has been talking on and off about these things since the 1970s, still waiting. Yeah, so have we, apparently. Let's see. FAA accounts, grants in aid for airports, augmented with funding from the general fund, facilities and equipment, research, engineering and development, and operations. Partly supported by the AATF, with the rest of the budgetary resources coming from the general fund. Department of Transportation accounts is the Essential Air Services program. Grants and aid for airports has been supplemented by more than $400 million annually from the general fund since fiscal year 18, with a $532 million commitment in fiscal year 24. Additionally, because the extraordinary need resulting from the pandemic, a total of $20 billion in assistance to airports was provided in 3 coronavirus relief bills in fiscal year 2020 and 2021. Additionally, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act invests $15 billion in airport infrastructure, $5 billion in airport terminals, and another $5 billion in air traffic facilities over 5 years. So that's $1 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's $1 billion over how many airports? 20,000. Like it. When you think about that large number, it sounds like a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, it is. Like, that's an amount of money I will never see in my lifetime. However, when you compare that, when you do the math, 1 billion divided by, say, 22,000, because this was only going to 2022. So say 22,000. That's not as much money as it seems. There's the problem. Calvin Stover Jr., there was a big change. They went from woke and Biden time. Trump was working on trying to replace FAA overhaul, but the Democrats were in charge at the time and voted against Trump's overhaul. Yeah, and there's also a lawsuit that's still in the works that started even before Trump took office in 2016, where people sued the FAA for and the Department of Transportation for their hiring practices, saying that they were not hired because they were white. There's
and it's 45,000 plus per airport, FYI.
Which 45,000? Try replacing all of your systems with $45,000.
No, it wouldn't even fucking scratch the surface.
Exactly. So it sounds like a lot, but it's not.
No.
And that's why people look at these numbers and they're like, these numbers are huge. And it's like, yeah, these numbers are huge, but we're also a huge fucking country. And yes, a lot of those airports are like county airports because generally speaking, every county in the U.S. has an airport. Even a small municipal airport, like all the counties around here, every county has an airport. Be it it's tiny, but an airport nonetheless. And like, it's just, yeah. I'd like to reiterate this phrase for the future that I said it first. Complacent for profit. Good point. It's just, it seems like a lot of money, but
I mean, the 400 million or the 532 million is nothing compared. I mean, if you calculate that through 22,000 freaking airfields or airports.
And I understand that obviously my county's airport does not need as much stuff as, say, LaGuardia or O'Hare or Hartsfield-Jackson. I'm aware of that, that, you know, my county could probably do it for $45,000. But Hartsfield-Jackson, the busiest airport in the world, 4 hours from here, cannot do that on $40,000. They have 198, if I'm remembering correctly, 198 passenger gates, like just passenger gates. So like I don't think that would be even appropriate for one of them. Like because you think ATC, you're not only having to deal with the equipment itself, but the people to install it. You have the tower, the equipment in the tower. You have the radar on top of the tower. You have different radars around the airport. You have weather systems, which means you have weather systems around the airport. You have different communication systems. So you not only have to replace the radios in the tower, you have to replace the radios in each airline's operations tower, because each airline has their own operations tower, and their ops communicates with ATC as well. You have to replace the fire station and all the ground equipment as far as fire and rescue and all of their equipment and how they do their jobs in communication with ATC. Everybody thinks of, it's just the computer systems. Not really.
Plus the training. Really. Plus you have to train people how to operate and work on these systems as well. So that comes into it. Point.
Because when you upgrade systems, there's a learning curve.
Yep.
On how to use those systems.
then you've got skill fade as well. So there's a lot of emphasis on that as well. So we need to make sure that we don't forget that part. That training comes into it as well for all personnel across the board.
Sorry, I just got a message from JKD Buck. He asked me if I heard of something. According to police report, tourists from Cincinnati attacked after night out in Savannah. I had not heard about that. I had definitely not heard about that.
Tourist or terrorist?
Tourists, two girls.
Oh shit! Right, okay.
They're all, yeah. But I also don't watch the local news. In the sense of like I don't really watch network TV except on like sports. So, but yeah, and don't forget, Paul brings up another really good point. Flying people is an aspect, but compared with maritime and road freight, it's a drop in the ocean. That's true too. And like we have other issues with our railroads as well. Our whole infrastructure is old. Like our whole infrastructure is just falling apart. So it's
Let me ask you a question.
but it will go on multi-years to fix, which could be 5, 10, and 15 years down the road. Well, we did talk about that they actually have a plan now. And Tammy, you might have been here for those streams, maybe not. We did actually read the plan. We have questions about the plan, but it is an actual written down plan, which is the first time that I have actually seen one of those in my life. Besides just someone say, usually you get this, $5 billion in airport terminals and $5 billion in airport just over 5 years. But what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? What are you going to do with that money? And this was actually a plan, only 8 pages, so not comprehensive, but it actually was a plan. The first time that I've seen, stats. I have YouTube TV, so I pay like $82 a month, and I get all the channels I could ever want all through my YouTube app. So, yeah. All right, here's the tax structure. So this is where your taxes are going if you live in the U.S. Domestic passenger revenue sources, domestic passenger ticket tax, 7.5% of your ticket is going. And this is why when I have said in the past that airlines, there's a reason that they overbook flights and hope people don't show up, is because you think you are paying $500 for a seat. But the airline is probably, after they pay the taxes on the flight, they pay the, for the fuel, they pay the pilots, they pay their ground crews. They are probably only making about $100 on each ticket. Maybe that. I remember there was somebody a long time ago who did the math on it, and I can't remember where it was that I saw it. But it's like, if you have a flight that is not packed, they are not making money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not making money. Southwest was the only airline that made money for years because they hedged their fuel. So they bet that the fuel was going to go up, and they purchased fuel at one price for a certain amount of time. So when fuel jumped and every other airline was paying higher prices than fuel, Southwest was not. So, they also pay takeoff and landing fees. Thank you, Mom. I forgot about that. Yeah. Takeoff and landing fees. Figure that one out. Domestic flight segment tax. And a segment is every flight you take. So say I'm going from here to Milwaukee. I fly from Savannah to Atlanta, Atlanta to Milwaukee. Savannah to Atlanta is a segment. Atlanta to Milwaukee is a segment. So $5.20 per passenger per segment. Tax on flights between it's in Alaska or Hawaii, or between Alaska and Hawaii. I can't imagine flying from Alaska to Hawaii, being in the U.S., but not actually touching the U.S. Weird.
That's a hell of a trip, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they hedged their fuel for well over 10 years. Yeah, that's why Southwest in the early 2010s, late 2000s, had cheaper flights than everybody else. When the cost of fuel jumped in 2008-ish, that's why Southwest still had cheap flights. There's reasons for that. They cheated. But that's why when all of a sudden you noticed a price hike, those who fly Southwest noticed a steep price increase randomly for what seemed like no reason in Southwest. It's because their contracts for hedging fuel were up.
Sounds like foreshadowing to me. That sounds like foreshadowing to me that they saw something happening and they went, yeah.
Yeah, people do it all the time. Well, airlines do it all the time, but some airlines get screwed because they hedge their fuel and fuel drops.
Mm.
So it's that gamble you take, and Southwest just hit the gamble. They just gambled right. But when you saw that sudden price hike in Southwest for what seemed like no reason at all, oh, there were reasons. They just didn't advertise them because they just didn't advertise them. All right, international and arrival and departure tax. $29 or $21.90 per passenger, indexed to the consumer price index. Tax on mileage awards, frequent flyer awards tax.
Wow.
7.5%. Everything is taxed.
Even
back to like the bus
free.
Get into a river, into the ocean and call it a day. Domestic commercial fuel tax, 4.3 cents per gallon. Domestic general aviation gas tax, 19.3 cents per gallon. There we go. Whee.
Is it true that they're just to change the topic very quickly? Is it true that over in the States there's now companies that are now the air version of Uber?
I don't know.
Because I heard a rumor that there are companies now propping up from two things I've heard, that there are companies now popping up everywhere where you can hire a helicopter or a plane, and if for example that person is flying, they'll like take you from there to there, and then they'll pick someone up from that destination, take them there, and then so basically they're going from airport to airport picking up passengers.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I got no idea.
But can you imagine these people who got millions of air miles and they think, "Oh yeah, I got a free flight." Yeah, no, 7.3.
Well, they have charter flights, but they've been around for a while. But those are a little bit different than.
No, Jeffrey. I've actually heard it's not the charter flights. I'm talking about like Uber type of flights. You know, I know what you mean about charter flights. I'm talking about like people who are flying from one place to the other, and But anyway, I don't want to take this off topic. I'll try and find it and I'll send it to you.
There's a travel and leisure app, Fluber, offers potential private jet passengers access to 9,000 aircraft and 1,900 airports from an Uber-like app. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Uber Elevate, rotors with high solidity and low tip speed result in aircraft that have yep. But Uber style private plane trips from 2023.
Yeah.
For Uber Jets allows you to book a jet much like they would book an ordinary trip by commercial flight, enabling them to plug in where they'd like to arrive and depart from, and then just tap and book.
Like Jeffrey's right. I mean, you can consider them like charter flights then, but just under a different terminology.
Yeah, they're probably for private jets, and he's expensive.
Mm.
So I can only assume that they're expensive. But getting back to this tax structure, because God knows this is so much fun to talk about.
Tax on mail. Oh, God.
Yeah, cargo or mail. Because, on every commercial flight, there's cargo.
Yeah.
Like, there's not just like in the cargo bins, there's not just your your
Luggage.
suitcases and shit. There's mail.
Yeah.
There's sometimes potential human remains. That's always a fun trip when there's human remains on a flight. Yeah, I saw a box one time that was not an adult. It's about the size of my desk. I'm like, that is not an adult.
One thing I can't get.
Even people that passed away in one location and are being buried in another location have to get there somehow.
Yeah, I just can't get over the fact that everyone thinks that their air miles are free. And they don't realize they're actually taxed as well.
Yeah. Everybody, everything is taxed. Everything. All right. Fiscal year 2024 excise tax revenues in millions of dollars. Transport of people is the most, $11,944,000.
No, $11,944.
Well, it's in millions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Nope. So the total revenue was $18,292,000. So, yeah. In fiscal year 2024, there were refunds from the trust fund of $162.9 million for aviation fuel taxes and $3.8 million for aviation taxes other than gasoline. And you not only have to think that companies have to pay to put fuel in their jets, but they also have to pay to put fuel in their pushback tractors. Their loading, I can't even remember what they're called, but it's their belts that I used to drive on all the time that lift up so you can get into the bins and load and unload aircraft. Those things take gasoline as well. So when your gas goes up, the cost of filling those machines go up, and those are used all the time for every aircraft. So it's people forget that there are, like, I'm not to say that I think that flying is affordable. However, there are reasons that things cost so much money, and you don't look at, you have to look at the big picture, which is, I think, what people miss out on. Here's FAA accounts and the funding. I will put the link to this in the description of the video, because this is fascinating to look at and go in depth with. I don't think it's appropriate for us to go super in depth on this, because that's not entertaining at all. It's just, you can see where the dip in revenue came in 2021 and between 2020 and 2023.
COVID, yeah.
So even though I probably flew more during COVID than I did any other time, like the cleanest place to be on is on an aircraft, because the air is purified and recycled. And also, it's cleaned between every flight. So it's like it's yeah. It's just one of those yeah. Oh. So our Steve Oh, he commented on my last video. So we're gonna read your comment, Steve. If that's what you think about British people, well, I agree with some points. Of 8:49, he timestamped what he said. At no points of his points, i.e. religion, he's wrong. That's not Britain. Call me out if you want. No, you are not equal opportunities. Bullshit. Call me out. I live in the UK. Not like some born in the UK. Huh? You make no sense.
Let me go and read this. Where's he read it? Oh, there you go. If that's what you think about British people, whilst I agree with some points, blah, 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 what he said, no, some points of his points, like religion, he's wrong. That is not Britain. Call me out if you want. No, no, you are not equal opportunities. Bullshit. Call me out. I live in the UK, not like some born in the UK. Well, I was actually born in Wales, but that's beside the point. But look, everyone has a right to their opinion, and I have always said that. But the thing is, when you make no sense, or when you actually attack someone and say they're not from the UK, but they are, and by the looks of your grammar, I suggest think before you speak or / type. Just saying. And the fact that the UK is a very large multicultural.
Hold on. We're gonna do a little inspection.
Uh-oh.
Because we made it through this, and I think we should call it a day at the end of this, because if we jump down another rabbit hole, we're gonna be here for hours. However, so what he's commenting on has nothing to do. He's an idiot. Steve, you're stupid. What you are commenting on literally makes no sense. And I'm going to say this because you make no sense. What he is commenting on, what you are commenting on at the time point, that he is referring to, is not about women in the UK.
No, I was talking about the mindset. I mean, I don't know if this chap Steve, or I don't know if he's ever been to Persia, or he's been to Iraq, Afghan, or Iran, or anything else, but it is prominent. You can see how women are treated. Right, they are treated like third grade citizens, you know, and there you go. I mean,
it's okay.
You know, but if
I'm gonna play it on stream. I'm gonna show you what the timestamp of what you said when he was. I'm gonna show you what you were talking about when what his comment is referring to.
All right.
We're going to listen to it together so we can prove Steve either is mentally deficient, isn't paying attention, or is just trying to be a troll and really sucking at it. I'm not sure. He might have misunderstood what you were saying.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Benefit of the doubt at first.
Absolutely.
However, we are going to see what he was referring to. So here's me from a little while ago.
Yep. The Middle East or Arabian countries like Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, stuff like that. I can tell you right now that from my personal viewpoint, I have seen the way women are treated over there, especially in Iraq. Women are treated like first-class citizens. I mean, they always walk behind. Okay, so the guys will always walk ahead. The women are always behind. They are segregated when it comes to their religious belief. They are segregated. They have to go into different parts of the mosque and that. And you know, it's very. How can someone who, okay, she was on Star Trek, she was on different Ghosts and all that crap, but how can someone who sits on a platform where you've got a platform with other women, okay, you are representing.
Okay. Okay, so
Can I just say something before you do? I just heard I said first class. Actually, it's third class. And
I know, and I corrected you. I spoke over you, but you didn't hear me.
And one other thing I'm going to add to this, okay, right, is the fact that in different cultures there's different mentalities and different perspectives. Okay, now if you want to take this and throw it back at me, right, saying that I'm like, you know, not being an equal opportunist, well, actual fact I am, because the thing is, that is my observational opinion, not my personal opinion. There's two different ball games there. My observational opinion is because I actually saw it for myself. My personal opinion is private.
I'm writing a response because I said, I think you're, you don't make any sense. And then I said, I think you didn't understand what he said. He wasn't talking about Britain and British women. He was talking about Iranian women, what my stream was about. But thanks for letting me know that this is your first time watching my content.
And just for the record's sake, I want Steve. I want Steve, okay, to go and do some research. I want him to go back to the 70s and the 80s. All right. And I want him to go and do some research of what it was like in the Middle East, what it was like in Iran, in Iraq, and Afghanistan, other countries like that. And have a look how people walked around, how they were dressed, how they behaved, and how everything lifestyle was. And then look at when things started changing, when certain ideologies started to enforcing themselves. At the end of the day, okay, when you've got people like Whoopi Goldberg who uses that program like a soapbox, all right, and when she's not happy, she doesn't get her way, she suddenly drops off in a huff or whatever. I'm surprised that she's still on that program, because at the end of the day, you know, you can't put your opinion across and not be criticized or have a discussion of what you've said. Okay. And the thing is, all you have to do is do some research, look at the historical differences between the 1970s and 1980s in those countries. And that includes over here on the Western side, in the West as well, and have a look at both sides, and you'll see a continuance and evolution over here. And then on the other side, what you'll see is restrictions upon restrictions upon restrictions. So if you're going to have a go at me, right, make sure that you've got your constructive criticism and anything you have to say, make sure you've got your T's crossed and your I's dotted. The end.
I'm all making sure that you understand what the hell you're commenting on, because he commented as if you were talking about the UK and women in the UK are second-class citizens, and we all know that's not freaking true.
That's not,
and because,
absolutely no.
Like, tell me you don't know me without telling me. He says because I've seen it. You weren't talking about when you go out your freaking front door and walk down the street.
No,
like
I was talking about yeah, I was talking about the Middle East. I was talking about Iraq.
Yeah, because we were referring to my
your stream
video on Iranian women's rights, and the fact that it's like, tell me you either I'm hoping that either he's like not understanding the context,
probably,
but don't come and insult my guests. You feel free to disagree all you want, but don't be rude, and two, make sure you understand what the frick you're talking about before you try to be rude. Like I am rude sometimes. But I carefully construct my rudeness to look like I'm not being rude. I'm passive aggressive like that. But also I make sure that when I'm rude to somebody that I've done my homework and make sure I understand that they are truly being rude before I am rude back. Because if someone's not being rude to me and they're just misunderstanding, I am not rude. So like his writing, my Mama Squid, thank you, Mom. His writing is the writing of a pure idiot. He didn't make any sense in his comment. And even English, proper English, as y'all want to call it over there, that didn't even make any sense.
That was in the heart there. Right there. Right. That was right in the heart. I mean,
Gail had made a comment yesterday. I don't know if she's still here, but Gail had made a comment yesterday about he calls us Americanese. What do you think he calls, what do you think what he calls what he talks? He'd probably say it's English because he's from the UK.
Ouch.
And that's where it originated. Like that's,
So now I'm being ganged up on. Okay, I can take it. No, but I mean, look, I'm not going to hold any grudges against this Steve person or whatever, because at the end of the day, I just think
that I want to yeet him, but I want to make sure that I understand. Because if he just made a mistake and he didn't understand what the context of the conversation was, or wasn't paying attention and just hears, oh, I'm British and this is how I've seen women treated.
Yep.
No, like I've seen it. Oh, because I've been deployed. Like You're not rude. You're decisive, forthright, and blunt at times. Yeah, but people see that as she hurt my feelings. She threatened me with a good time because she said she no longer wanted to talk to me.
I find
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, I find it fun when Squid gets serious with me. I just sit and giggle.
Bye, Tammy. Someone told me someone told me they didn't want to be my friend anymore, and my mindset was don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, no, but I mean, going back to this, like at the end of the day, he probably misunderstood it. Look, I'm not going to guess. All I'm going to say is this: it didn't bother me then, and it doesn't bother me now, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to listen to a conversation or you're not going to listen to the content of the topic, then you shouldn't be commenting at all. Because the thing is, when you talk about the way women are treated in the Middle East, and I'm just speaking from past experience, when you see it, okay, when you it doesn't happen here in Europe, it doesn't happen in America, but we do have situations where you can actually see it happening. And the thing is, listen to what's being said. If you don't agree with it, then say, hey, look, I don't agree with what you're saying. However, I may have missed a part, or I don't understand what you're saying. Can you please explain it in a little bit more detail? And I would have been more than happy to do that, but not to attack someone and then go on to someone's and then make a stupid comment that no one understands. You probably don't even understand it yourself. So here's an idea. Go to sleep, wake up tomorrow morning, brush your teeth, have a shit and shave shower, right? And come back with a more open mind and listen to what was said. And maybe you probably might understand that what you did was totally bang out of order. But then again, if you say you live in the UK, then obviously they must have kicked you out of school. So I don't care. I really don't care. It was taken out
anymore. I just checked.
I really don't care. I mean, you're going to get people like that in every country. Like I said, every country has a minority, and you just have to,
And usually the minority of people who are the rude ones are the loudest. Because think about restaurant, restaurant reviews. Every time you go to a restaurant, you have a good experience, you go write a review? No. When do you write a review? When you're pissed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I've had a look at his channel, and Steve, get a life, mate. That's all I'm saying. Just get a life. You're acting like a complete pleb. You yogurt stain.
Calvin's comment here says, "Oh, she's a disgruntled veteran," as a certain speaker of the house said. Yeah, disgruntled. That'd be about right.
You say it, baby. Good.
On that note, we hopped down a rabbit hole. We went through that rabbit hole of where that funding came from. Next rabbit hole is a budget. Because I think if we were to start that rabbit hole now, we would never end.
I think I'm going to make a suggestion in public. I think what we need to do is try to separate the budgets from because the budget is covering multiple things, and I think what we need to do is look at this in different. We need to take ATC and upkeep and equipment. We need to take airport expansions. We need to have a look at different types of airports, for example, major airports like LAX and stuff like that, compared to smaller airports. And we also need to do a little bit of back checking in regards of the New Jersey incident, and also if there's been any updates on the Pac 25 and other stuff. But I think that if we throw ourselves down this rabbit hole with everything, all right, it's gonna be extremely confusing.
And that's the thing, is this topic is so huge and there's so many rabbit holes that it's like we have to move through this tactfully.
Yes.
And so we don't hop down too many rabbit holes and distract ourselves or get confused ourselves, because if we're confused, all of y'all watching are going to be confused too. Let's be honest here. I mean, if I'm confused trying to read through this, I know y'all are going to be like, huh? Especially people who come in late, haven't seen the other streams. or are stream hopping because two people might be live at the same time and you like both streamers.
Yeah.
Shit happens. I know that happens because that used to happen to me all the time where I'd have one person on my phone and one person on my computer. Like your stream hopping and you keep, you know.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think
every Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
I think the next stream we do, I think we should spend 10, 15 minutes just glimpsing, going really quickly over the ATC document that we read out last time, and then go into the actual, like I said, if we split these out into different categories, right, at least then, you know, people will know, all right, okay, this was the ATC upgrade stuff, and now we go into, right, budget, bang, bang, bang. Because that way everyone can stay on the same page, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's why I worked at an airport instead. I was the closest that I could get into an aircraft.
Yeah. But I just want to say thank you very much to everyone in chat who came to attention and, you know, paired arms. So thank you for that.
And thanks for hanging out with us through multiple streams. I know that this isn't quite as entertaining as talking about people's online drama, and people spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on useless fucking litigation. But this is an important topic. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
She's right here.
Hi, you.
So there's a mix of how to run a YouTube channel. I'm talking about things that people are wanting to hear because of drama purposes, and then things that I want people to hear because of importance. And it's like there's a fine line. Like these streams, the joke about Steve and banning, that's the most that's the most super chat revenue I've made on a stream in weeks. Like,
I mean, I find it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's one of those things of like, that's why I monetize my streams, is because I don't get much. I don't get many super chats. I'm not like someone's throwing $100 super chats at me every day, like somebody else I know. I know a person who gets like $100 super chats within the first 5 minutes of his stream. It's freaking amazing. I don't know how he does it, but it's like I'm not like that. I'm a small channel, but I have things that I feel like are important to talk about and that I have knowledge of and interest in that I feel like more people need to know. And you feel, well, I don't know if you feel the same way. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you seem to be interested in some of the same things that I am, which is why I like doing these streams with you, because it allows me to bounce my ideas off of somebody else besides some. Oh
no! I definitely like these streams. I mean, like, you know, when you actually invited me to do this, one thing I do enjoy is brainstorming this, because like a lot of people from around the world come into these streams and listen to these streams or watch these videos in replay, and what they don't realize is that this problem is not isolated to the United States of America. It's everywhere, because obviously we've got this. I sent you the link. I sent you the PDF file in regards of over here in the UK, and they've got a similar thing going on over here. And that's just here in the UK. Now we haven't even bothered jumping into a rabbit hole about Europe. Then we have to take into consideration, you got like the continent of Africa, you've got South America, you've got so many different continents and places to talk about. So it's not isolated to America. I like talking about.
I mean, let's see.
Hello, you. I can see you. I can see you.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Hi, little one. Hi, how you doing? I see you. No, you're welcome.
She's the star of the show. I just work here.
Oh, brilliant.
I just do the cooking and the cleaning. And this on her arm is great. She took one of the grapes that she had and like smashed it against her skin. So I got to go wash her up.
No, but yeah,
I never thought of grapes as being a food that could be messy until her. And then grapes become what look like a bruise on your arm. It's like, no, it's not a scrape. It's not a bruise.
Yeah, grapes do. I mean, but just going back to what you were saying a minute ago, I really enjoy this topic because the thing is, I think we've got the same type of thought process in regards of all this. That, yeah.
There you go.
I'm a what?
I don't know. All right, but anyway, we have to go. We have to get going because Daddy's gonna be home soon. You go see if Daddy's home, and then we gotta make dinner. Go see if he's home. She'll go run to the front door. You want to bye? Say bye. At least.
Bye, sweetheart.
Never spit peas at me. That's because she doesn't eat peas. I can't get her to eat peas to spit them out at me. So
I am Welsh Paul. Why are you trying to trick me out? Are you?
That's what we're having. Tacos. Something simple and not going to take a long time to heat up my kitchen. So, yeah, kind of like the start of the think tank, which is awesome. I kind of just I like being able to discuss it, and sometimes streaming by myself. Like, I like to stream by myself, but I can't get the ideas that I want to talk about. And I'm coming up with an idea or I'm thinking of something, but either the chat or you can finish my thought or help me put my thought into words that make sense. Because, 2 head injuries and a brain surgery later, and sometimes what I think makes sense doesn't exactly make sense. So it's mashed peas and taco meat. Sit on a shingle. It's global. Yeah, and that's the thing. Everything is interconnected with the internet, and a lot of these problems that we have here are not exclusive to us. Some of the problems that we have here aren't even real problems here, like they are problems elsewhere. Like women being second-class citizens. We have a lot of women here bitching that they are second-class citizens. It's like, try going somewhere else, and then tell me how much of a second-class citizen you are. We could have discussions on that all day long, but problems are global. They are not limited to the U.S. And that's why also having an international opinion on it is a good thing, because sometimes we get even I, as much as I try to see the big picture, and some call it fence sitting, as much as I try to see the big picture, having an international perspective and sometimes us disagreeing about cultural things is like, oh yeah, that's a U.S. problem, or that's a U.S. that's because I'm from the U.S. and
well, it's not just the cultural. I mean, next Wednesday when we do this, I think it just the PDF file I sent you from the research I've done over here. Maybe it would be worth showing that just to give people an insight of like, hey, look, this is what's going on over here. Look what's happening over in the States.
Yeah, and you and I had started talking about that behind the scenes, that our stuff was from the 60s and the 70s, but your stuff hasn't been fixed since after it was repaired from the damage from World War II.
Well, it has. It has, but the thing is, obviously, I can't recall exactly when it started, but it was like mid 60s and stuff like that. That's when things started getting worked on, because obviously there was a lot of I really don't want to go into it because I haven't really done that much research on it, so I don't want to really comment right now until but I can say that at the moment over here in the UK as a whole, they're going through the similar to //same type of thing that's going on over in the States. So I can do more. I can do more research for that for next Wednesday. But I think that, like, in regards of showing people the ATC thing about the funding and all that very quickly, and then going into what we discussed would be an idea, because then people can. And you've muted yourself.
I muted myself because she was crying, and I pulled a U.
Yeah.
I pulled a U. All right. As Gail says, hold for next Wednesday. We will see you next Wednesday. I will be streaming tomorrow, either at 9 a.m. or 1:30 p.m. Not sure which one yet. I do have an updated a new case to cover that someone sent me. It's a hot car case out of Florida. I am working on getting documents from it, but we have the Volusia County Sheriff's press conference, and needless to say, he is not a happy person. So we are going to listen to his press conference and kind of get a background on this hot car case out of Florida, because that is the hardest thing this time of year, is the hot car cases and forgetting your children in the back seat of the car.
Yeah,
the child is only 18 months.
Shit. Well, yeah, but I just want to take this opportunity to once again thank you very much for your hospitality, and thank you everyone in chat for being friendly, and look forward to the next FAA/ATC/rabbit hole go down dark blindfolded. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for having me again. I appreciate
No problem.
it.
Anytime. I'll see you next Wednesday. I'll see you before that, but I'll see you next Wednesday.
No. Don't you sit on your platform and threaten me. I'm now going to go and cause toxic drama now for 10 minutes. I'm going to go, she picked on me. Oh dear. Oh no, the pain. Oh, the pain.
Paul got mad every time I quote unquote picked on him. He'd be mad like every 18 hours or so.
That's so untrue. You are full of shit.
Also, if you guys do want to contribute to my channel, but you do not want to give your money to Google, which is perfectly acceptable. I do have an Amazon, if you want to know where your money goes, I have an Amazon wish list. It's stuff that I'm planning on getting for the house eventually, when funds are right. There's also a gift card fund in there. So you can throw like 20 towards, the subscribe and save order for the month that pays for like laundry soap and all that stuff. So, Angel, who's home?
And something else very, very quickly while she's distracted. All right, while she's distracted, Squid picks on me all the time. Send help.
Hey, you.
I don't pick on you all the time. Okay. On that note, I do have to go. Got to cook dinner. I will see you in a little bit.
I feel bullied.
You
and Paul, and one thing I didn't even. Do you know what? I can't speak Welsh that much anymore. But I tell you one thing: call me Grandpa one more time, then come in my stream, and then I dare you. I freaking dare you. Do you know what? I just looked at chat. Right? I just looked at chat, and he was like, "Yes, Ted." And mother.
I can barely speak English, let alone Welsh or any other language.
I can't believe I have to put up with that.
I used to speak some German, but that was.
Oh, you want German? Here's some German. I have
But
What?
my aunt had to help me with all my homework. So, and then that was the first skill fade, was the German.
Hey, Squid.
Yeah.
Ich möchte mich gerne bei dir bedanken für das heutige Stream, und ich hoffe, dass
On that note, guys, I will.
Merci beaucoup, mademoiselle.
For making it to the end, Jeffrey, as always, and Uncle Bob. Yeah, y'all are my ride or dies. I love y'all. Just if you're the praying type before we go, Roy and his wife could need some prayers. One of my best friends lost her mother a couple days ago, and also Dr. Joe, also known as Dr. Goodhair, CMO Joe on YouTube, Dr. Corcoran, the amazing doctor who testified in the Maya Kowalski case, has a mediation coming up with HCA Healthcare on July 8th, and asked us all to give him well wishes and our best for that fight. HCA, if you see this, which I doubt you will, just pay the man. It would have been nice if you would have paid the man to begin with, because you wouldn't have had to deal with the inflation of what you should have paid him to begin with.
Yeah. And my condolences to you and your friend. And Roy, if you're hearing this, you know where I am if you need me.
All right. I just like to end my my stream on a positive note to this, and if you're not the praying type, if you're the positive vibes type, just send positive vibes their way, because they all could use it, and they could use it a lot more than me.
As 8-Ball used to say, positive vibes, man. What's with the no negative vibes, man? Positive vibes, man. Peace.
All right. I really got to go. Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody. Have
Bye.
a good night.